Johnversations podcast. This is number 12. Super, super excited. My baby brother, one of my best friends in the whole world, Mr. Joey Fava. I was thinking about this before we started the show. The only person I think on the planet, maybe outside of my wife, that can literally spit on the back of my head, like just hawk one and hit me square in the back of the head, and I have absolutely no animosity against. Dude, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. I'm super happy to see you.
Dude, I'm happy to see you. Nowhere else I'd rather be, big bro.
I know, man.
Happy to see you, man.
I miss you, and it's you're in Michigan right now. How are you handling the quarantine right now? What are you doing to keep yourself sane?
Dude, I've been working on music, and that's like about it. Watching TV shows, you know what I mean? Just like trying to pass the time, but trying to be as productive as possible. You know, get some tunes done, get some writing done. Did a couple of drum videos. I'm gonna do some more. Just things like that, you know, projects. Just trying to keep busy, dude. Missing the live shows, bad. So
yeah, the drum videos I've been seeing, and they are, I love watching them, man, because I've known you since we were kids. And for folks out there who are listening who don't know who Joey is, he is the drummer for a band called Kaleido. Done countrywide tours. You guys played Kid Rock's cruise ship? Was that it? Warp Tour. Just tons and tons of stuff. Joey and I were in a band together called Robots in the Garden. So I've known him for super, super long and known him even before that. And I wanted to say one thing I love about your drum videos, man, is, you see people doing like, oh, this is my YouTube drum cover, stuff like that. But like when you watch yours, they're like produced really well. The lighting's really well. And then you've got the talent behind it. Like I could sit like you put out the Under Oath one, and then the last one you put out was a little more I don't know what song it was, but it felt like it was a little more funky. Had a little
yeah, that was actually like a drum playthrough track on YouTube or something. I don't know. I was just playing to it, and I was like, this is cool. It's a cool vibe, like an indie kind of vibe. But yeah, I just wanted to start doing some more clips like that and stuff. Maybe instead of like full songs all the time, but it's just fun to do them. You know, get feedback from people, put them out. It's always a good time.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
Well, I enjoy watching them, and I know they get a lot of hits, and you even had the dudes from Under Oath give you a shout out on Twitter, which was pretty cool.
That was crazy, dude. You know, because especially like what those dudes mean to us, you know, growing up, and like how influential that band really was, dude. And you know, it's weird as we get older and you start touring, and like we had done a couple of shows and just festivals and stuff. And I'd see them, you know, it's like, whoa, dude, it's Under Oath, you know. But yeah, that was crazy. That was like their new record that was the first one with Aaron back. So it was cool. I heard that song, like I heard the drum part. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like it was just insane. But yeah, dude,
he was playing with Paramore before that, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was doing a couple other things. Yeah, he was doing a couple other things. But and he came back with them, and I was just stoked that it happened. But yeah, dude, like Spencer tweeted me back and was just like, whoa, and the band too. And I was just totally blown away by that, dude. I was like beside myself. That was like the best props to get from them. That was really cool. So
it was funny too, because Millie, she's just shy of 2, and I've started showing her Under Oath, so like she really likes Reinventing Your Exit. So she just gets out there, and she's short, so she just gets into her feelings. She's just waving around. It's super funny, man. That kid, she likes like Itsy Bitsy Spider and Baba Black Sheep, and I'm like, you want to hear Pearl Jam? You want to hear Coheed? You want to listen to some Under Oath? And she just throws down. It's so funny. She really likes Tetranauts too. So Gaithers, she just like, if I gave her some glow sticks, man, you would think she was just in the club tripping out, because she just
looks like one of those.
Yeah, man. Eric Gaither of Tetranauts, who was in Robots in the Garden with us. But she's, I don't know. I hope that she kind of gets that taste from me and her mom, because her mom is super into like 90s hip hop and R&B and early 2000 stuff. So she'll be a little mixed thing running around, like, put on that Coheed and then let me hear some My Pony. You know what I mean? So,
dude, that's how music is now, though, man. It's crazy. Like, I remember when we were young, I guess it was like you like what you like. You know what I mean? It was more like you had your lane. But now I feel like these kids, dude, they're into everything, you know? And the genres aren't as much like divided, I guess, especially with like the festivals and everything. So that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah,
excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because I remember like being into pop punk, and there was like these were the kids who were into pop punk, and then
Yeah,
there's
dude.
like then you've got your emo kids, and you've got your goth kids, and now it's like
Exactly,
I think
dude.
I think like SoundCloud and Spotify and stuff like that kind
Yeah.
of open things up to be like, well, hey, I can listen to this, but then there's a million other things instead of like I'm only going to the store and buying CDs that I know I'm gonna like.
Yeah, exactly. And then even doing shows like certain bands could like crossover, I guess, to like the fan, like Newfound Glory was like cool with like the hardcore crowd, and there's certain bands could do it, but it's like now I just feel like it's not as divided, which is cool. But yeah, that's trip, dude. Man, remember buying CDs? That was fun.
I know,
That was
man.
I miss doing that.
I know, and I feel like when the kid gets older, it's going to be really weird to kind of explain that to her. Like, no, when we wanted music, like I had to get a ride. I remember, like the Godsmack CD came out at like Sam Goody or something, and Nate Booz was super. He's like, let's go get it. So like we went and like stood in line for people. I guess there was a lot of people who were into Godsmack.
Dude,
like,
it was just more of an event. I mean, it was cool. Like, I mean, I remember I heard of Metallica from Gaither, like Reload. We were like, I was like 8 or 7 or 8 years old, and he's like, "Yeah, listen to this," and I miss that, like, discovering something and then just like going down the rabbit hole, dude, and like finding every record they ever put out and all that stuff. And I would go through the record stores and just like look at, I would just buy stuff just because of like the way the cover was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even hear it, but this is cool, like whatever. Or I heard from somebody. It was just kind of a magic about it that I miss. But there's streaming is, I mean, insane. So it's just a different time. But I remember just the excitement of that, like, and being young too. So I wonder what it'd be like to be like that age in the streaming age, like be like 12 or 13 in the streaming age. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the feeling may be the same because I know like even on Spotify, like I've like put on a playlist or like gone to a radio station and be like, okay, just play, here's an artist I know I like, go ahead and play anybody associated with them. And then I'll find something and be like, oh, I like that. Who's that? And then let me go through and like, okay, let me pick out some of these like artists and things like that. But I think you're right in the fact that it's not as much of an event anymore. You know what I mean? Because now it's you can find that feeling almost instantaneously, because if I'm like, oh, I'm really into Band of Horses. Oh, I've never heard of before, but here's every album they've done. Let me go through and just, kind of click through where, when we were 13, 14, it was like, okay, if I like this one song, now I got to go spend the $15 to find out if I like the rest of the songs, because I'm not going to know.
Yeah, dude. Check the other record, dude. The cover better been sweet, because that's the one you're picking.
Yeah. That was one of the reasons I got that Third Eye Blind record, like with Semi Charm Kind of Life. I was like, I like that song, but the cover's like the red one, the lady's got her hand up over her face. Like it just looks super trippy. I was like, well, let's, it's either that or Hootie and the Blowfish. Let's.
These singles were so important too back then, because it was like, that was what you would buy a record. You buy a CD because of the single, like, and I did that with, I mean, countless records. Like, dude, I remember, like, let me think of something off the top of my head. Like remember like American or something, dude.
I lost
that band. Flavor of the Week.
Oh yeah,
American Hi-Fi. Like, I remember seeing that cover and be like, "This is good." It's like a cassette tape on there. But I would buy stuff just because like the single was awesome, and then you would hear the rest of the record, and that was like how I discovered music. It's crazy. Like, I remember going into Harmony House with my mom. Remember Harmony House, dude?
Is that the one that was on Ford Road, right? Over by
Ford and Lily or something.
That's what. So that's what I was thinking. Not Sam Goody. That's where they used to do in-store.
There was Sam Goody in the mall.
In the Westland Mall.
Yeah, dude. But I was like, I don't know. What would a Dookie come out like 96, 97? Green Day's Dookie.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I was with my mom. I was like, I want this record. And I remember the dude was like looking at it, and he's all to my mom. He's like, this CD has some references to masturbation and blah blah blah. All this shit. Like, my mom's looking at me up, just like, she's like, just bring it up, stop talking. I was like, dude, I want this really bad. But yeah, dude, it's just a different time. Like, now there's, I mean, I used to have to worry about that. Like, when, I think like the Marshall Mathers LP came out and I wanted it. Like, I asked my mom, like, I want this Eminem CD. And it was like, there's parental advisory CDs, dude. So you couldn't just, your parents would just like buy them for you. Now it's like, kid can just go online and be like,
Explicit.
listen to whatever they want.
I don't want the clean one.
Is it even a thing anymore? Do they even make like cleans for radio? I guess, but yeah.
I want to hear Adam Levine say the F word. Like, let me get that explicit one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, my shout out to my Uncle Sean, because when I was a kid, he used to buy me all the records that he thought that I would like, but they all had the parental advisory stickers on them. So he would buy them and like take the sticker off.
So that was before they would put it on the actual like print it on the. I remember the stickers.
Yeah.
Right?
So every like Christmas or on my birthday, be like, listen, man, this is brand new. He's like, I just took it off because I didn't want your parents thinking I was giving you something you shouldn't listen to.
Coolest guy ever, dude.
I remember the biggest fight I ever got into with my mom. I had the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. Live,
that boy.
And
God, I love that record so
I didn't
much.
tell my mom that I had it, and I was listening in the basement, and she heard it, and she was
oh
like,
my God,
what kind of language is that? Because I mean, it's foul, you know what I mean? Like,
so
it was
fucking foul. That was one of the records that I would listen to with headphones on. You know?
Yeah, but as like and that's the thing, as like a 13, 14-year-old kid, you're just like, yeah, this is hilarious,
Dude, honestly, that was like such a magical record, because getting into music and like, I don't know, I was probably like 10 or 11, maybe, or 12 when that came out. I think I was really young, but it was just like, that was like embodied that live environment, like how goofy they were, dude. And it was bad, because they're just swearing a bunch and saying a bunch of weird, gross sexual Blink-182 shit. But it was just so awesome, dude. It was so funny.
I think it was cool for us too. And because I was actually thinking about it pretty recently, but one of the cool things I think for me that I didn't realize at the time was like, that was a band that I loved, and that, they started, they had a bunch of, like low level singles, things like that. Then Damn It hit. And then Enema of the State came out, and then they blew up. So to kind of like, if you were somebody who got in on the ground floor of that for this band that you loved, then to all of a sudden be having like a live record, from an arena.
Travis, no less. Yeah.
Right. With Travis Barker playing. It was just like, oh, like the stuff that a lot of people think maybe just be like goofy, pop punk, things like that, can definitely, it can hit to those levels of other bands, playing arenas and all, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because,
I just don't. Good.
Yeah. The production was good.
I listened to that record, dude, to this day. Like I rebought it on vinyl. Like I love it. I love the artwork. Like I love everything about it. I think it's one of the best. Yeah, dude. And at the time of my life, it was just like, it's just one of my favorites, dude. As soon as I put it on, I'm just like.
Yeah, and I still sing it too with "What's my age again? Where's my Asian friend?"
Yeah, dude.
All like the little improvs and stuff. Oh yeah, it was super funny,
dude.
Yeah, and
even when I hear the Enema of the State ones, I always do that shit. Yeah, you will be fine, you fucking asshole. I remember all that shit, dude.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's the slow, pretty part.
That's my favorite. What's my age again, dude? Bass solo, give it up for me.
Yeah, he's just so proud of his picking part. He's like, check it out,
dude. I know, but it was like that vibe was just like it really embodied like punk rock vibe, but they were like so pop at the same time. Like it was a perfect band for that time, dude. Like I don't know, they just really do embody that time of my life. Blink, like 100%.
It's crazy that they're still putting out records too, and now they got the guy from.
Dude, yeah.
Good. It's cool.
It's cool. Dude, we did Kaleido did Warped Tour this past the last Warped Tour festival, and it was just insane. It was like, dude, everyone that we had grown up like idolizing was like playing this event. It was like I literally
Dan Margera there too, right?
Yeah, I met him, dude. It was crazy.
Which has got to be like, for
him
me, when you were growing up, yeah.
Well, it was funny. Mitch from Set Sail was the official photographer of Warped, which is crazy. So he's there. And he's like, dude, I seen Bam Margera back here. You should come back or whatever. And I was like, oh man, I missed it. And then so Blink's playing Enema in its entirety, and it was just like, wow, this is fucking crazy, dude. Like, I can't believe I'm sitting here like my band played this show, dude. Even just Warped Tour alone to even be on it was like such a trip. So they finish, and then we go back in this like hangar thing that all the vans were in, and like, dude, there's nobody in there, and then Bam comes skating by. Like, and I seen him, I was like, oh my God, dude. It's like, he seen me like looking at him, like I was trying to be cool or whatever, but he was super cool. Like, he just skated out and was like, what's up, dude? He started talking to us. He's all, my brother's band's playing. I was like, I know like who they are, dude.
Oh, he's talking about
his
him?
brother. Yeah, well, no, he's talking about
CKY.
His brother's band, Jess, yeah. But it was just a trip. I was like, this is just insane. It's like, literally, like, I don't know who, like, what year is it? Like, I'm like, dude, I just watched Blink play Enema of the State in its entirety. Just met Bam Margera right now.
Yeah, it's
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude.
walked into a vortex and I'm
Yeah, dude, it was a
13,
trip.
14. Yeah, it's crazy, man. That's one of the things I've always loved about Warped Tour was, because I went the year I was Fall Out Boy's first time playing, first time on the tour, and they were still on like the smaller stage.
Uh-huh.
And at the Detroit show, they just got bum rushed so hard that the stage collapsed and the speakers fell into the crowd. And people just, yeah, keep going. They're like, "Are you kidding me? Like we can't." Like, you destroyed.
See, that's what I'm saying. It was just a crazy energy back then because you couldn't I mean, we had MySpace and shit, but like there was no like social media to where you could just like there was still that like aura about bands and shit. Like when they can't, like, remember when a band would come into town or we would like see them, it was just the biggest deal, dude. I mean, it was like, whoa, like they're gonna fucking, even bands like Half the Battle or something, or like Before I Go, or these like bigger bands in our area when we were younger. It was just like, dude, they're gonna come play here with us.
Well, they were just older than us. I think that's what it was. Like you remember playing you remember playing with Chiotis or the Chiotis brothers, and you were like, oh my god, like these dudes are 27. Like,
but they just looked so cool, and it was like their shit was more polished, and it was like it was really cool because it was very influential, But that was even me with like you know what I mean? Because I mean, you're not way older than me, but you're at least 4 years older than me, or I think 4 years old. Yeah, so it was like, you'd be doing shows and I'd watch you and I was like, whoa, so that's just, I missed that, like, being young, and there was like a real like sense of community with our neighborhood, I guess you'd say, and all that. Like, we had like a scene, and it was really fun, man. I just remember it being like a real like a vibe, a real feeling, and I think that attests a lot to why I still do this shit, dude. And I really fell in love with it then.
Yeah, well, I did Alex Berg's podcast, American Whiner. That was
I listened. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were talking about, was just like, I don't think we realized it at that point, but like that really was like, there was just music. They would let us play music anywhere. Like, oh, you have an internet cafe with a bunch of computers. Let's just push them out of the way and cram, 70 kids or 80 kids. I mean, there's people banging on the glass on the outside.
It was crazy, and I missed that. Like, it didn't matter that there was no stage and no PA, and it fucking sounded like shit, and it was like whatever, but it didn't matter, dude, because everyone was there and the vibe was there, like, and all the kids were so excited about it. It was just good times.
Yeah, well, I just did an episode with my buddy Rick, who lives here in Tennessee, and he's been throwing these like real intimate backyard shows for like the past 13 years. Like, he just does them at his house. He's had like national acts come through and like sold tickets for like people to come hang out in his backyard. But we were talking about that. I was like, man, when you're at that age, you're thinking of like, I want to play St. Andrews Hall. I want that big stage. I want to be looking down on everybody. Like, but then when you get, at least for me, now that I'm older and I think about all the shows that we played and stuff like that, like those ones where there was no stage, the PA speakers were like right next to your face and everyone's like right here. Those, to me, those are a lot of the ones that stick out as like, okay, like that's, because that's, I think, where the real energy was.
Oh, dude, 100%. I mean, I don't know, dude.
And to what you're saying, I feel like, because like you said, we had MySpace, but nowadays with Instagram and Snapchat, and everybody's got an account of some sort, it's like I can learn a bunch of things about you if I'm into your band, where when it was our age, it was like, dude, like I had to dig. Like, you had to go find like the Blink-182 self-made tour film if you wanted.
And it was special. That's the point I was trying to make. That's a perfect way of putting it. Like, you can't just go look at somebody's shit and stalk them and figure out weeks back and see what the hell they ate for breakfast or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it was all about the music. And then when you seen them, like, you knew their picture and shit just from being, like, I guess on their MySpace page or from the record cover or whatever. But yeah, dude, it was cool, man. And I don't know if that's ever really going to come back. I think it's just different now. Like, I was rewatching the Oasis documentary today. Have you seen that?
I haven't. No.
Oh man,
I know their story. I haven't seen the documentary, but I know that their story is extremely rocky. It's probably,
and it's just good though. Like, Noel Gallagher was talking about that. Just he's like, at the time they were the biggest band in the world, and he's like, it was just not even just about them being the biggest band in the world, but he's just like, it was just a good time to be alive. Like, there was no internet, there was no, magazines didn't really, there was no like even really a rock magazine. I don't think. I mean, was there? Do you remember anything like that?
I mean, there was like Rolling Stone, but
Well,
there
I
was
guess,
like,
but you know what I'm saying, like
yeah, there,
for young kids or anything. So
yeah, it was all
yeah,
like it was still in the day of like Tiger Beat and stuff like that. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's just it's crazy because it's like you can if you're into it, like with your drum cover, you're like, hey Spencer, check out this drum cover I did, and then that guy that you've looked up,
yeah.
that band you looked up to, they have the ability then to talk back to you. So
It's good and bad because you can just literally like hit somebody off the rip. Just, hey man, like and they usually will see it. I mean, even if they don't answer, like they're gonna see it. So it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. I mean, if the fact that anybody can get a hold of you at any time is just kind of scary. But
yeah, man. I mean, it's hard now to kind of live off the radar. You know what I'm saying? Like you've got some kind of presence anywhere.
It's harder to do that.
Yeah.
Than it is
Even if you don't have like a Facebook or social media or whatever, if you go to like that Spokio site, people can still find out like what your phone number is. It's like
what a trip, dude.
I know it's crazy. I remember that Spokio site first came out, and I sent Dylan a screenshot, and I was like, "Hey, dude, your phone number and like family's names, they're all up on this website." And he's like, "Yeah, everybody's is." I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know.
I'll never forget Josh's phone number because it's so easy. 777.
I'm gonna have to cut that out now, or else there's gonna be a bunch of people calling him.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't think about that.
No,
but it's so funny, dude. I can never forget that one. It's like embedded in my brain.
I'll bleep it. I'll just put in some sound effects, take the audio out.
Sorry, Josh.
No, that's all right. Well, or maybe I'll leave it in, make his day a little more interesting.
He's bored of the quarantine, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those listening, Josh Dillon was one of the guitarists in Robots in the Garden as well. We're kind of, I forget that people don't know the whole thing, so just holler out.
Let's get into it, bro.
Right.
Let's get into it.
I did want to talk to you, because again, I mean, you've been in Kaleido now for years. You guys have toured all over the place. A newish record, No Rly I'm Fine, just came out recently. I really like the single on that too.
Thanks.
Oh no, it was good, man. I watched the video. It was a really well shot video.
Yeah, I'm stoked on that, man.
And I will say, knowing you for as long as I have, there's something really cool about being able to see people that you care about, your friends, people that you genuinely love, seeing them be successful and accomplish things that are important to them. I show Kara all the time. I'm like, hey, look at this. Like, check out what Joey's band's doing. Cause it's like, like I said in the beginning of the show, man, I love you like a little brother. So like seeing you do those things and get where you want to be and kind of live that life that you've always wanted to live is just, it brings me a lot of joy that you're doing that. Cause like I said, man, I just, I love you more than I could tell you. And it just makes me so happy to see you doing it. And, but for people who don't know you the way that I do, I mean, you've been playing drums. I mean, you're a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, you play guitar, bass, recently started teaching yourself some piano, right? Because I know after Bohemian Rhapsody came out, I was like, oh, Joey's playing a shit ton of piano lately.
That's what did it too, man. I was like, dude, oh man, I love that movie. I thought it was great. I seen it in the theater, and I came home and was like, oh man, I started trying to learn that. It was inspiring. It was cool.
Yeah, me and Kara went and saw it too, and I think some of the acting was a little rough, but I think I love that band and that and Freddie Mercury so much that you're just like, I don't care. Like, just tell me the story.
Yeah, dude.
The songs.
And being able to be like a fly on the wall, like when they were doing Bohemian Rhapsody, and just like you're going to see that movie for those reasons. You know what I mean? To like just kind of relive those moments. So I wasn't too picky on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I kind of let.
The part I had a problem with, and maybe it's just because being in a band, having been in bands, especially Robots. I mean, we had our fair share of blowups and stuff, but when they're getting into that fight, they're just yelling at each other, and all of a sudden it's like doom, 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 and everybody stops. What's that?
That's not usually how it goes. But we never really wrote Another One Bites the Dust, so I guess if something that good would have started happening, maybe it would have got our attention. Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, dude.
But
hey, man, you should start playing it when we get in a fight, and we'd stop.
Just next time do an argument.
Yeah, next time.
I play that song all the time, still, because that's Kara's favorite song. So if you come over to my house at any given time, you may just hear me playing it in the spare room or something. Cause she's like, play
nice.
that robot. I'm like, but so, I wanted to kind of talk about how you guys started. So talk to me, because I know your dad played drums. Your dad was in a lot of bands. When did you start playing?
I've been playing drums my whole life, dude. I started playing when I was like 2, because my dad basically not really forced me, but just, was like, there was always drums around. So I wanted to play them, obviously. And I don't remember learning how to play drums. I just could, you know what I mean? Like I remember sitting there and learning how to play the guitar and being pissed, like, gosh, I just couldn't figure something out. But with drums, I was just it's crazy. It always kind of came natural to me. So when I was, I guess 2, he bought me a little drum set, and I've just always played since then. I didn't necessarily probably take it seriously until I was 13 or 14 when we started doing bands,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always played professionally. He's always been in bands. So growing up, I come home from school and it'd be some of the best musicians I've ever heard playing in my basement, So it was just normal for me to be around really awesome musicians, and it was just life, So, and then he's always been really supportive too. My mom has, my whole family. So it was kind of a no-brainer. It's I was into it, and that's just what I've done always. Continue to do.
I don't know if you remember one story about your dad always sticks out to me.
There's always a bunch of stories about my dad, dude.
Well, because he's extremely talented, always. And he takes what he does seriously, as far as his musical ability and his drumming and stuff like that. And I remember, I don't know who it all was, but I think my buddy Terry was like, you had a band going, and I can't remember who it was. I can't remember who was in it, but he was like, yeah, I'm going over to see if I can sing for this band. And it was you, and he was there, and somebody was playing guitar, and I was
probably Gaither. It was all neighborhood kids, probably. You talking about Terry Fickner?
Yeah. And we were just making noise down there, and your dad came storming in the room, and he was like, what the fuck is going on?
He just didn't understand, bro. I remember when we first started doing heavier music too, people were screaming. He was just like, what is this? He just didn't understand at all, dude. It's funny, just the parents never get the new music, I guess.
I could only imagine what your dad was thinking the first time set sail practiced in your basement.
He got used to it quick, dude. But he was confused, just what, you guys are just gonna scream the whole time? I was like, yeah, Dad, it's cool, man. That's what we're into. Yeah. He's like, all right, him recording us was the funniest. I mean, he would record all of our stuff, when I was in high school, and he was just funny, man. I give him so many props, dude. He would sit there and do that shit with us for hours, man. He was into it, but I know he was probably not into the music. I mean, he was foreign to him, so that's cool. He's being a good dad,
Yeah, well, I mean, as a parent too, it's got to be awesome to be this is something that I care so much about, and then my son, who I also care so much about, love more than anything, has taken to something that's important. Like me and my dad, we had movies. My dad was like, have you seen this movie? Check this out. So, and I kind of get that from him. But I mean, I can only imagine as him. And then now too, seeing, again, some of the things that you've been able to do and stuff like that, I'm sure he's just got a sense of pride and yeah, I made that. That kid, kid, when everyone's like, play a solo for me, Joey Fava. And, there's thousands of people yelling that, he's like, yeah, that's mine. That came from
it's
from the love
cool,
gun.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, that we've always bonded from that, with music. That's always been something that we could connect with, and we always will. So I'm thankful for it. It's really cool, dude. You're right.
Well, I know you said you didn't really start taking it seriously until you were around 13, and I think that's honestly probably the first time that I met you. I think so, yeah. in that, because I just remember you having that, it was the shaggy Bam Margera haircut.
Oh yeah, dude.
The dark hair with you had the red streak, and it was when everybody was wearing the fabric armbands. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I can see it now, bro.
And I remember there was a church that used to let us play in Westland all the time.
Club Triune.
No, there was Club Triune, but there was that other one.
Oh, the other one that you broke into to put a show on one time.
That jerk. I did not break into that church. Somebody else.
Somebody did. I remember that.
The person. So let me clear this up because I don't want like, this dude's going around breaking into churches.
No.
In
the door was open.
In high school, no, it wasn't. In high school, I used to book shows, and we booked at I don't even know if that church. I don't remember the name, so that's.
I don't remember the name either. That was like one of the only times that we had played there. It was not Club Triumph was a bunch of shows. That one was only like 1 or 2 shows, and that's probably why.
But so all these bands that showed up, I had worked with the person who ran booking that would like book bands to come in and play. Because again, like everywhere at that time was like, yeah, we've got a church, you guys can come do your show, or like, this is a youth rec center like the Summit, and they'd be like, yeah, come set up 3 stages and do a 6-hour show or whatever. But all these bands showed up, we're all in the parking lot, and the booking agent never showed up to let us in the door. So I'm like trying to call them, and the next thing I know,
that.
The next thing I know, like Chiotis was there. Chiotis Brothers was playing.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe Every Avenue was there. Something.
I think so. It was a bigger show. I mean, yeah. I remember the show. I do.
Well, and that's why I was like, okay, like there's a bunch of bands here. Like getting somebody.
Yeah, probably...
And then all of a sudden, I just saw people going inside, and I was like, did they show up? And I went in, and people were just setting up gear. And that lady, like, now what I will say is we did the entire show, and I do remember that at the end, everything was very clean. Nothing was broken. We put everything back.
Yeah.
Like perfectly. I don't know how the doors opened, but they did. We did a show. I put a bunch of money, in like their collections box that they had. Cause I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
For rock and roll. Appreciate it.
But that's one of the shows. I mean, cause we did like Club Triune and stuff like that. But that's for some reason that show sticks out in my head of when I was watching you and I was like, okay, like this kid, he's 13 years old and he's like holding his own, if not better, against like, 25, 26, 27-year-olds on the stage. So, what was it at that time? Because I know like, you grew up with a bunch of kids we know in the neighborhood and stuff like that. But what was it at that time that kind of tweaked your brain to be like, all right, I'm taking this to the next level. Like now this is going to be serious for me. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was just like really getting into a lot of the bands. I mean, like honestly, like talking about Blink and talking about like the Mark Tom Travis show and hearing like the crowd roar on that record, but they were still being like goofy and funny and it sounded great. And like, Travis was like a huge influence of mine. And I just could see that it was something that I could actually do, I think, like being younger, it was just my dad played and that was cool. And I liked music and I enjoyed it. But I think it was like a real sense of like excitement and like maybe like pride to be able to like be a younger guy, and everyone's giving me props and I'm playing with older people. And I think a lot of it too, though, dude, is that there was like a scene and it was very like inviting and exciting. And like, there was just a vibe about it. I don't know if there wasn't that, if maybe it would have went a different way, if we would put on shows and nobody showed up and it wasn't fun and, it could have been different. But I think a lot of the reason that I got so into it was because of how fun those were. I mean, those are some of the funnest shows I can remember when I think back, dude. Honestly, they were so fun, and it was like new and exciting and good times.
Yeah. I mean, I think something that always sticks out to me that, again, I think when you're in that moment or when you're at that age, it doesn't really sink in the same way it does.
Yeah, not at all.
When you're older, because, being 35 now, I can look back and be like, oh, damn, like that was crazy. You know what I mean? Because when like Club Triune was a big place,
huge,
you know what I mean? And when especially if you're, 13 to 16, like that's like a pretty like big ass venue.
Dude,
so to be
big.
Yeah, to be there on like a Friday, because we had remember all those Drive Thru Records bands came through. We had like Hello Goodbye, Steel Train played.
Yeah.
Which the dude from Steel Train, he went on to be in Fun with the dude from The Format.
Yeah.
He's that bleed. Like these are people who have gone on to being that age and kind of looking out and just being like, oh, this place is full and there's people from the front to back. I don't think you really. It's at that age. You realize like, oh, this is something special. And then I would like to see, I think a documentary about that would be like, because I think it was kind of crazy, and I don't know if it was like that everywhere, and maybe we're just isolated. Like if somewhere in Missouri they were like, we got a banging scene here, buddy.
I bet you there was, honestly, like, and we wouldn't know about it. That's the thing. And it'd be awesome to see a documentary about that. But the thing that sucks is that we didn't ever film anything because it was just, no one had camera phones. It was like, if you had your camera there, you would be able to get a couple things, but not just how everything's documented now. It just wasn't like that, dude.
Well, my sister actually just sent me a Snapchat 2 nights ago. She was cleaning out her basement, Mary Beth, and she found a Mercury Shoes VHS tape, but she doesn't have a VHS player. So she's like, I don't know like where it's from, what's on it. And then she found the original recording of Heart Attack from Spiral's Staircase Studios. You remember that, dude?
God. Yes, I do. Kevin?
And then Doc Mambo was what we
Is that what we did? That's the 2 songs we did there?
Yeah, well, I think we changed the name of Doc Mambo. It was I always forget the name.
It was called.
Yeah, we wrote that. I wrote that song and I forget what it's called also. Yeah,
oh,
dude.
Man. On the actual like robot CD, it's still like it says that on there. You put it in like a car, it'll say like
Mambo, just the...
only memory says like mutual feelings on it. Like that's how fucking Doc or some Battle Custer is like Modern Revolutionary.
Yeah, General Custer's. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I guess no one thought to like do the proper tags on it. Like, what am I listening to?
It's different times, dude.
So, yeah. So at that point, let me ask you this. And again, I mean, at that age, I don't know if even myself, I have a hard time being like Mercury Shoes was like my first real band. Cause like, like we played music and we had fun, but I don't know if we had like the work ethic to be like, we're a band. You know what I mean? We're So like, would you say, was that Madison AD for you, or was there something before that sticks out?
No, the first like real band was Madison AD that people liked, you know what I mean? And we had like songs and shit. And, yeah, I don't think before that it was just kind of messing around. Like me and Gaither would mess around because we lived across the street. So we play with, this dude Nate Hotchkins lived down the street. You remember him?
I remember Nate. Yeah.
Yeah. He played bass and he would come and jam, and it was like that.
Nate was like the first goth kid I knew.
Yeah, right. I never thought he was so cool, dude. He was way older than me.
He had the longer hair.
Always wore Docs and black clothes.
Steel bald necklace and the Jinko jeans.
Yeah, dude. I wonder what happened to him. He was cool.
I don't know. I hope he's doing good.
Same. But yeah, like we would jam with him, me and Gaither. And then, which is crazy, Gaither's been in like, I've done so much stuff with Gaither over the years. It's nuts. So we do that. And then I don't even remember how we ended up starting Madison AD, to be honest. I haven't thought about it in so long, but I think Gaither and Ryan were hanging out, and they were like maybe writing songs or something. And Scott, so it was Gaither and Ryan, and then Scott Hetkowski, Ryan's brother, was singing for the band. So I just went and played drums with them, and I knew nothing about like, because that was like right when that like, I guess, quote unquote, like emo thing started happening, like with Taking Back Sunday and all these bands and shit, and fucking Brand New and whatever. So I remember like going there, listening to only like Metallica and whatever the hell else I would listen to, like, and I was just totally
I imagine there's a lot of stuff like your dad like put you on.
Yeah, it was like classic rock and whatever else I would like. But I just remember being like, at first, didn't know what to think of it. Like, I remember one of the first songs that we learned was the starting line, Best of Me. Yeah. And I was like,
I think that's like the first song that like every kid that age.
Yeah,
we played at the town. Remember?
Yeah. So it was cool, I was like, yeah, this is crazy, but it was nuts. Like, they were totally introducing me to like a new style of music, and it's crazy. Like, it just took off from there, and we started doing it. I don't remember what happened. Scott just ended up doing something else or something, and Gaither started singing, and then Ryan knew Rusty from skateboarding, Rusty Hatfield, Russell now.
Yeah, shout out Russell.
Yeah. So I remember they just came over, dude. We played, and it was like really fun. I remember that was the first feeling of like, wow, it's like, I felt like it was like a band, and then we did like Boys of Summer or something, like the Ataris cover. My dad recorded it, and it was like so cool. I just remember it being so fun, dude, and like just a crazy energy, like so exciting. I remember listening to it over and over again. Just like, wow, dude. Like, I'm the bus going to school. I have like a 5 tape and I don't know, CD or something. Just being like, wow, dude. Like, we made this. Like, we did this. This is crazy, And then we did a 3-song EP, that Gone Forever EP.
Mm-hmm.
My dad has all this stuff still, dude. Like, if I go over there, he's got all the actual like pressings that Ryan would do, like, and he'd print them out, and make them all DIY,
That kid has been, I will say that, because we actually, I gave a shout out to State of Comics a couple episodes back, because, everybody right now with small business is having a hard time. But I will say that kid has been on his grind
always,
for
dude.
as long as I've known him. He's like,
Ryan was like
CDs done
all the time. Yeah, dude. Shirts, fucking just anything. Ryan was always hustling, dude. Still always hustling.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's nuts, man. I remember seeing you guys. I think it was for the high school, because you weren't even in high school yet. You were in middle school.
Yeah.
And
there was a couple of those, I remember. Was I playing drums or guitar?
No, you were playing drums. And I remember Russell jumped off his bass amp and unplugged it.
Yeah. And he was like, Ryan flipped his guitar, that red guitar, and it fucking went flying.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like people don't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude. And that was like textbook, like first band shit, dude. You know what I mean? Like, God, I forgot. Oh my God, this is crazy. I knew it was gonna happen when we did this. I was like, dude, we're gonna bring up some crazy shit that I haven't thought about in forever. But that's so funny. I remember him doing that, dude. He flipped his guitar and it just went. I don't even know if it went flying, but I think the neck just like slammed in the ground. Remember how cool that was? The guitar flips,
Oh, Gaither, when we were playing in the Rising Tide, we were in a parking lot like Indiana. And he was outside, like, we're getting ready to like play, and how he always does like his stretches and his jumps. He's like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And he has a guitar on, and he went to do the swing, and it got to here, and then just went. So he was like, and it just skirted across his like gravel parking lot.
Oh no!
He was just in position.
That used to happen all the time, man. That was like before strap locks were even a thing.
Oh, they were a thing. We just couldn't afford them.
Like,
$40.
Nuh-uh. What a trip, dude. But yeah, I remember doing that, and we did that 3-song EP with Madison AD, and I remember like kids liked it, and it was weird because that was like my first real band, I guess, and I just remember like, obviously a bunch of kids probably didn't like it, but like a lot of kids liked it and would come to the shows and were like into it and were wearing the shirts, and I was like, wow, this is like, I don't know, I guess it's my first taste of seeing that this is actually like something you can do, like people are into it,
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too. And again, this is all kind of thinking back on it, but like, I remember being in high school in Mercury Shoes. We recorded our first, it was like 4 songs, and we did it we hung a mic in the middle of a room and then ran it into a karaoke machine and just recorded from the center of the room. And we called it like the mathematical probability of sex. And then we took that and we burned it to a CD. Dude, we're selling out of them.
Dude.
Like in the hallways at the high school.
And I remember that.
It's, it's not, the songs, I would be super embarrassed because it's like, I don't know if I'd be embarrassed, but it's definitely like 13, 14-year-old humor. Yeah. It's not like, it's nothing profound at all. But, then we started playing shows and we were seeing people from that, that we went to school with, and then people that we didn't go to school with who had seen us somewhere else were coming. And I looking back on it now, I think a big thing for me was like not realizing it at that time, but like people were connecting to what you were doing. And like, I think for me, at least, that was a big driver to keep going. Just being like, okay, well, even if I'm not on the radio, or even if, I haven't sold 1 million of these records, like there's people coming, every week because they enjoy what we're doing, So
I wasn't even thinking about that at the time. I was so young. I was like 13. I was honestly, dude, I think I was just really excited to like be hanging out with the older kids, like. And, that was like my I guess, was playing music. And I liked doing it, but it's crazy. Like, I those are such fun times, dude. When I think about it now, it was, obviously at the time, like, nothing's that cool, I guess, when you're doing it. We're young and it's whatever, but it's pretty magical, dude. I don't know if kids do that now, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine like and maybe it's just because I've got my like finger so far off the pulse of like that. Yeah. But like, I don't know what like a high school show, like if there's still like, 4-chord punk bands that are like, yeah, we're playing it, Club Triune tonight, or Mr. Muggs and Itsy, you know what I mean? Something crazy like that. Well, so let me ask, because I know like Set Sail was a big deal for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from, if I remember correctly, Set Sail was in between like when you first started and then when you started playing with us and robots, right? It was
Right,
like
right.
in the middle there. So like how did that come along? Because I know, like, I mean, Set Sail built up a huge following. I know that there's still people that are like, that's my favorite band, like to this day. So, you know, talk to me a little bit about how that came about.
That's crazy too. I actually just did a session, like a FaceTime session with Mitch the other night, and we're trying to work on some new shit. Actually, maybe throw a song or two out. But so that came from. So we were doing the Madison AD thing, and then after Madison AD, there was like a couple different bands that we had done. Like we did My Own Tragedy. It was called. Remember that band?
Yeah, I remember that.
So that was Rusty did vocals, and then that's when I met Robbie Mansell, and me and him were together basically until I did Robots. So we did like a couple different bands. We did My Own Tragedy, and then from then on we went to a band called Heavens Ablaze with Adam Vukmarovich, Zach Vukmarovich, Kenny Lear. Yeah, dude, it's so fun, man. It's good. So that was when we got into the heavy stuff. You know, like it kind of gradually started to do that. That was more like metal though, and then from there we got into like the hardcore stuff and did Still Standing. It was called, and that was like. TJ Gores was doing vocals for a while. You remember TJ?
Yeah. TJ
Ryan
hits up my Facebook wall every once in a while. Shout out
dude,
TJ Gores.
We toured through Salt Lake City, and he showed up at a show. I was like,
oh,
dude, what's
awesome.
up, man? Yeah, it was cool. So we did that, and then it just kind of gradually led to like doing that band, you know. So when Still Standing stopped, Robbie and I, and this was like, dude, it was still MySpace days. I mean, this was probably 2006, I think. So we did like a goof. We didn't take it seriously at all. Me and him, like we were totally like we named the songs like Will Smith, like like just like name all the songs. Like one of them was called like Nick Cannon. Like all the songs were named after just like actors and shit that we thought were funny.
Yeah.
But we did 3 songs, I think, at my house, like with no vocals. And somehow, like Mitchell got a hold of him. He was from, not from. I don't know if he lived in Port Huron at the time, but that was the scene that he was like frequenting.
He was he kind of out by, because
I think he was in Warren.
Yeah, he was out by Madison Heights, because when we did those promo shots,
we did him at his house.
Yeah, and that was like right down the street from my aunt's house. I remember I went, was like, hey, what's up? Like, I haven't seen you in 2 years, but I'm like I'm at the park down the street. Hey.
Yeah. So we put those up, and then Mitchell got a hold of him from somebody. He was in a band called Hostage at the time.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, this is dope. Like we're trying to do more like positive kind of hardcore, I guess, you know. And just not, I don't know, maybe not being so serious. I think it really was the goal of it. But he like recorded on his own and sent back vocals, and we were like, whoa, like that was like you know, now that's so normal, like, you know, with all these quarantine videos and people's just like nobody could do shit like that back in the day, like.
Right.
So when he sent it back, it was like, holy shit, dude, this kid killed it. Like he wrote. So then he just I don't even think I met him before then, honestly, dude. He just like drove out to my house and showed up and like, hey man, and us 3 jammed. He was like, hey, I got these other guys from a different band. I forget what band they were at the time, but it was Seth Melrose and hold on, sorry. And my buddy Chad. So they were in another band. I forget exactly what the band was called, but yeah, it was like that was the band. And we just like started playing constantly, dude, everywhere. It was nuts. Like, and Mitch was really good with getting shows and kind of, you know, doing like the business, I guess you'd say at that time, because we were so young. Me and Robbie were just still in high school, and I think Mitch was a little bit older. But that band was crazy, dude. Like people connected to that band in a level of just like it used to floor us sometimes, dude. You know, like wow, like people show up to shows, dude, with just tattoos of all the lyrics and shit, and just. You know, like Mitch put the mic out, dude, and it would just be like dog pile, like 20 people just singing all the words. Like it was really special, dude. It was a very fun time. And
now the Set Sail stuff, if I remember correctly, because I believe I looked it up the other day, but is that stuff up on like Spotify and stuff like that?
No, it's not. We need to put it up. Yeah, I think we put out an EP called Breaking Ground. I think that's
I remember that
on YouTube, possibly. I think so.
Or if you want to shout out your MySpace, if you guys are still promoting
if it's still there, I don't know. It's probably MySpace, Set Sail.
Justin Timberlake was like, "I'm taking this shit down."
Yeah, right now. But yeah, dude, it was a trip, and we did so many shows, and we would just play constantly, dude, like everywhere, you know.
Well, I remember there was a good portion of time where like I didn't see you. You know
Yeah,
what I
I was
mean? Because
gone.
like I was playing in the Rising Tide for
Yeah,
a long
around
time,
that
and
same
then like
time.
and then I just was like, oh, I don't know where Joey went. I haven't seen him in forever, but you were, out on. I mean, you guys did some like pretty extensive, like you were out of state a lot and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, we would do like we wouldn't do long tours and shit because we were all still in school except for Mitch. I think but he wasn't even doing college at the time. So
Okay.
we would do like 2, 3, like do Cleveland and then do Chicago or whatever, and then come back and just like quick ones like that. But we were always playing, dude. We do like 3 or 4 shows a week,
Yeah.
and it was insane. Like I remember like the Ritz in Warren. Now it's like Hot Rock Bar or something it's called now. But like we would go there, dude, and like it was so like
It's called
relaxed.
the
Like
Cock Rock Bar.
no, Hot Rock.
Just Nickelback
Yeah,
cover bands all night,
no.
baby.
But I remember like Icy Stars and like we came as Romans. We'd be doing a show and they'd be like, "Yo, we want you guys to play," and it would literally be like Robbie's car like couldn't fit my drums, so we'd be like, "All right, well if you want us, like we'll play, but like Joey's got to use your drums or whatever." So like it was like that, dude. We roll up and it'd be like 500 kids, dude, like sold out show, and I just run up and play somebody else's drums, and it was like so just relaxed, and that's crazy for me to think about now.
Was it hard back then without the China cymbal? Because that's
I had the China cymbal, bro. Are you kidding me? Like all the time.
That's one thing I remember when you were younger. That China cymbal was like your favorite. It would always just be.
I still love that thing. Oh yeah, I love
Not
that
even
thing,
looking
dude. At it. I still use it all the time, bro.
Do you
Yeah,
really?
it's yeah. No, man. Especially with that band, it was very. I needed that cymbal for that band.
No, that's always. I just remember you being a little kid, just going down and not even looking.
Man.
You knew where it was.
Always.
So yeah, I mean, talk to me about that, man. Because how old are you at this time? I mean, you're in high school, so we're like 16, 17?
16, 17, I think.
So like you're showing up, kid, playing with bands like We Came as Romans, I See Stuff. I mean, these are again, bands that. These are bands that at our age, I think we're on a different level. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So what is that feeling like when you show up and you're like, oh, dude, like there's not a ticket left to the show? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what's crazy? At that time, those bands weren't like national bands yet. They were just big around here. Probably the same as us. So it was cool. It was like everyone was just like, hey, what's up? Like, yeah, use my drums. Like, no big deal. So that wasn't too crazy. That just felt like a show, which is nuts. And I mean, back, like I said, dude, the kids would always show up to shows. So it was nuts. It was like there wasn't that thing of like people stopped going to shows yet. So it was just normal, I guess, maybe. But we gradually, though, started playing with like, on bigger shows opening. We'd get some respect from like Black Iris Booking or something. They would, like, I remember doing a show with like Terror and Madball, like walking in like the hayloft of Mount Clemens and like being just taking it so seriously, dude. Like, I mean, it was like, dude, we're about to fucking play with Terror. What I mean? Madball, these bands are like classic bands. And Have Heart was opening. If you know what Have Heart is, was just like one of our idol bands. And that felt insane, dude. Like I was just like, I can't believe we're even doing this, Like I don't believe it, honestly. It was insane. And we would do that we played with a bunch. We played like Misery Signals, which is one of my favorite bands, and just these like idol bands. And at those bands, when we would do those shows, I was like a little kid, compared to them, because they were like probably late 20s or whatever the hell they were, I don't know, mid 20s or something, but just like more skin in the game and know how shit works and touring bands and just like, so it was like intimidating, it was like, wow, dude, this is, even being in the presence of playing the same shows. And when they would give us shout outs and stuff on stage, like it was incredible, dude. I mean, being a young kid, it was just fun and it was exciting. And that scene was like, there was like a really crazy energy to that scene because it was rough, and it was like a little bit more like crazy and not necessarily violent, but I guess a little bit. But it was like a lot of motion and just like a lot of energy. So there was always just an insane amount of energy flowing to those shows, dude. And it was
just connecting.
It was a blast.
People,
oh yeah, it was incredible, dude. Yeah.
Like, and that's another thing too about Michigan. And I don't know if it's. I mean, I guess again, it's kind of always been that way. But it's like, and I don't think I was aware of it at the time. But there was like, it wasn't like there was just one scene. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, dude.
Like there was, you know what I mean? Like you could be playing shows every single night or going to shows every single night and not see the same groups of people because, it was like, okay, these kind of bands like the Rising Tide that were like, hey, we're pop rock and we've got, Moog and a couple like 3-part harmonies. There's like, or you can
Yeah.
go and just scissor kick somebody in the head, just pick your poison.
Whatever you fancy, bro.
I do really enjoy the times when those meshed. I remember we were playing a show with the Rising Tide, and there was a hardcore band playing. I forget who the band was, but our keyboard player Jordan, you remember Jordan Baker? He was,
of course, yeah.
He was like, "I'm gonna get in that pit," and somebody kicked him like right in the sternum, knocked the wind out of him, had to like carry him out. I was like, oh man, like this isn't the kind of thing you should be getting in on right now. They're not,
yeah, right.
They're not fucking around. But so, because the way that I remember it is, we started coming out of the Rising Tide because me and Josh and Gaither were all playing in the Rising Tide. And then we kind of broke off and we're like, we're going to start Robots with Josh. And then, I'm sorry, me, Jay McGlone, and Gaither were playing. And then Jay and I met Josh through Eric. And so we started doing that. And then Jay McGlone, who's another like wonderful, I mean, he's just a crazy good drummer and producer, and runs a studio in Minnesota now. But he left to go to music school, and we were kind of like, shit, I guess like that's it. We did, 3 or 4 songs, and I guess that's, that. And then we didn't do it. Like me and Dylan would record some stuff every once in a while, but we really weren't doing anything. And then Gaither was like, hey man, like, you remember Joey? And I was like, yeah, I remember Joey. And he's like, well, he learned those songs, which at the time I was like super impressed, because I didn't think that was anything. Not that acts 1, 2, and 3, because when Robots started, for those who don't know, it was very like, we want to be weird, and there's weird time signatures, and
it was
first
advanced.
3,
it was good shit.
The first 3 songs are all one. It's like a 12-minute piece of music or 15-minute piece of music,
Very
something like that. Yeah, and so like for someone to be like, yeah, I'll learn that. That was like, oh, like fuck yeah, cool. So what happened with Set Sail that got, I guess, where I am kind of like not really sure what happened there, is what happened between Set Sail and then when you were like, hey, like, let me learn these songs.
So we were doing shows always, and just kind of, we just never stopped. Like with Set Sail, we were always doing it. But like I said, none of us took it that seriously, dude. It was something we did, and it was fun, and like that's just what it was, So I think it just slowed down for a while, maybe. I don't think, because I was still doing Set Sail shows when we first started with Robots. So I think it just kind of slowed down, and I went to Guitar Center, and then Gaither was working. I was like, what's up, dude? And he's like, hey, man. I said, hey, we should hang or whatever, I'm here. I think it was like the summertime or something, maybe. And he's like, yeah, definitely. I got this drum set up at my place, and we should jam. I was like, oh, dude, hell yeah. So we went over there, and we just started playing some stuff, and it was fun for me and him to kind of reconnect, because we were best friends, dude, when I was, from when I was like 5 to like probably.
Yeah, you grew up across the street from each other.
Yeah, I grew up across the street. So like, he was one of my first friends ever, dude, and he's still one of my best friends to this day. It's amazing. So it was just fun to kind of reconnect with him and like jam with him, because that's the first person I even jammed with when we were like 6, 7 years old, dude. Like, just fucking around.
Playing AC/DC covers and
yeah, like just anything we could even try to play. Yeah, like whatever the hell he would learn, and we would just start playing it, So we were kind of just hanging out, and we were playing, and it was fun. And he was like, dude, maybe you want to like play for Robots? And I was like, I had known what you guys were doing, because you guys put those 3 songs out. And I was like, yeah, like that, because I was doing such heavy music at that time for so long. For the last like 5 years, I was doing just full on all screaming too, and I love it. I still love it, but I just want to do something different, And you guys were my friends growing up too, so it just was, kind of a no brainer. I was like, yeah, man, let's do this. So he asked you guys, and then I remember, honestly, dude, I think it was that same night you and Josh rolled over to his place. Remember that? I came down, you guys were all in the corner smoking cigarettes and shit. Like, shadows, I couldn't see you. Yeah, I'm all, hey, guys. And I remember, like, one of the first things Josh says to me, he's all, try to give me a cigarette or something. And I was like, I think I might have smoked the time or whatever. I was like, no. He's like, what, you don't smoke? I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. So that was
Be a
just
whole
like,
lot cooler if you did.
I know, right? But yeah, that was crazy. Like, and I think that was the first time that he had said anything, and then from then on, I don't even remember, bro. We started doing it. I mean,
Yeah,
you know
man.
as much as I would at that point.
Well, I mean, I will say, I think that's my favorite incarnation of the Joey Fava that I've known over the years, because I hadn't seen you for a while, and then you had that Eat Spit shirt. You remember that?
Oh my
That
god, yeah.
had just it was I don't even
The
remember,
most
but I just remember it was the most vulgar
ridiculous
thing on the back.
profanities in the back. If I wore that now, dude, I would just be like, you just can't do shit like that anymore. Unbelievable.
And you were just so like, what's up? What's going on? You had that like young kid energy. You know what I mean? I was like, this kid like never stops. Like he's like amped up all the time. I remember rubbing your shoulders before shows, be like, you
Hell
got
yeah.
this? You good? You good?
Ready to go, man.
Yeah, man. And I will say, like, being in the Rising Tide, like we toured and stuff like that, and that definitely felt for me like the first. I wouldn't say band, but that felt like the first thing that I took seriously.
Uh-huh.
Robots, at least for me, was the first thing that I was like, this is kind of different. And you may have felt that way about like Set Sail.
No, I felt
But
that way about Robots, dude, because I felt like we were, I mean, that's the first band that we were doing more like mainstream-ish stuff. We were doing stuff with the radio stations and
yeah,
things like that. So I definitely felt that. And, I mean, shout out to Josh. He was always really on it and, trying to get us as many opportunities as we could. I mean, we played, dude, how many shows we played with that band? We played so many shows,
dude.
bro.
I mean, we were
A
playing.
lot.
I mean, I feel like there was times that we were doing like 2 or 3 nights a week. I mean,
Oh,
and when
easily,
you're,
yeah.
I remember working at the pizza place and being like, "Yo, guys, I'm out. Like, I gotta
Yeah,
go.
sorry.
I gotta go to a show." And back then, like, I felt, back then I would feel bad about being like, "Oh, I gotta leave work early." And now I was like, "Man, I should have just left work early." Like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I was working at a pizza place. I was like,
Yeah.
deuces. But yeah, like I think for me that was like after Jay had left, I really like I was really digging what we were doing in Robots, and then Jay was like, "Yo, I'm leaving," and
That was a
so
bummer for you too, right? Because that was your boy.
yeah, yeah, I mean, like to this day, and yeah, people get up, grow older, and they move away, and you end up in different places. Like we're both from Michigan originally. He's in Minnesota. I'm outside Nashville now, so it's people go different routes, but he's one of those guys that if I, text him like, "Hey man, what's up?" Very similar to, me and you, man. It's like I could not talk to you for like 3-4 months, but it's like, hey, oh, it's
Yeah, dude. True
like I
friends.
talked to you yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a bummer because it was like we left the Rising Tide because it was like we want to do something that is, the Rising Tide was very like pop songs, you know what I mean? And it was I love my experience with that band. I love the music that we did, but I wanted to kind of move into something a little more that was a little bit more me. And I mean, you remember like the lyrics, a lot of the lyrics that I wrote, they're not, they're weird. You know what I mean? So, like I wanted to do something like that. And so it was a bummer when he left because it was like, man, like we just got the ball rolling and like this felt like it was going to be something. And I remember the first time that we played those songs with you, it was like, okay, this works. Like it's like we could pick up, like not miss a beat. And then we hit the ground like hard. We're like, okay, well, we got these 3 songs.
Man.
We got to write a whole bunch more if we want to, keep going. And
that was a really like magical like time in my life too. When I think about it, because it's not like how a normal band, like when I jumped into that band, it was like I had known you guys for years already. Like we were all like childhood like chums, like friends. So it wasn't like I was just like I want to do some kind of different kind of music and just jumped in some guy's band and they were cool. It was like it was like my friends. It was nuts, like doing that and just like the vibe. And we were just, it was so fun. I mean, we like practicing at Warren House and stuff, dude, and having the place, and we would just writing and like just everything about it was. When I think about that now, bro, that's just like that was so fun. That was pretty incredible.
You ever stop and think that there may be a family that lives at Warren House now?
It's Gaither's friend that lives there, dude.
Okay, all right, so we know who lives there because
so he has gone back, I guess, in recent times.
For people who are listening, Warren House is the house that we used to practice in and that's all it was for. It was just a house to practice in. So you practiced and like you partied, and that was it.
It was
So there's
awesome.
a lot of late nights, a lot of adult, a lot of adult themed evenings. You know what I mean? So like sometimes I'm like, oh man, like I wonder if there's like a family with kids that lives there, and they're just like, hey.
Yeah.
I wonder if you remember that big Terminator banner that was hanging up like forever.
Josh still has that.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't. It just I'm right there. It felt like kind of all of us came from different places, from like different puzzle pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we're like, hey, okay, this makes sense.
But also cut from the same cloth too, which is really good.
You know,
like work, I think. Yeah.
I mean, we all knew the same like stomp, and a lot of similar experiences and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. I just like, I think you're right. That's one of those things like, when you're in it, like I had the girlfriend at the time, and it was, going back, I do a lot of things differently, but at the end of the day, it's cool to be able to look back on it and be like, okay, like that was something like really special. And I think, I'm really grateful for the fact that there's a lot of people out there that don't get to have those kind of relationships. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, oh, man, like it's been like over 10 years, you know what I mean? And I would still, you know what I mean? I still talk to you guys. Like, we were FaceTiming, I was FaceTiming you here while you guys were in the studio. Like we've been like working on little things together. It's like, there's a lot of people that, if you were in a different state for 10 years, it would just be like, oh yeah, I used to hang out with that guy, but I don't really talk to him. You know what I mean?
Well, man, we were very close, and that's, I value that.
Yeah, me too.
We stayed close over the years, always.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, with the show coming up today and recording. I was like, man, like, I got to text those dudes and just be like, hey, man, just so you guys know, I love you guys.
Yeah, right. Like, we do that from time to time.
Yeah.
But,
and it's crazy now too, because, like, Gaither just got married. Like, Dylan's got 2 kids now. Like, it's just like, you look at where you are and the things that got you there, and it's like, oh, well, that's why those things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of my favorite memories, man, were recording that first record, not at a Spiral Staircase,
at Halliday's,
but at
Halliday's. Shout out to him. His birthday was like 2 days ago. I just had a birthday to him.
Oh, I know, man. I
haven't seen him in so long. Matt did the first Kaleido record, because it was right after that, basically. So we jumped in with him, and
because I know that was when he was doing Mink's studio. Out of I think he's in a different spot now, and I don't know if he's actually still recording. I think he might just be.
He was in Toledo for a while. I don't know what he's doing now though.
Yeah, well, look him up. Matt Halliday, producer. I think he's, if I remember correctly, and he can definitely correct me, but I think he's still doing like mixing and mastering, but I don't know if he's actually like tracking anymore.
Okay.
But he did a bunch. I mean, he did like the fireworks stuff. And,
he did a great job. Awesome.
Yeah, man. And he's a good dude too. But I just remember I bought that we bought that like real tiny. It was like the first time I got into video editing. So there's a bunch of like just videos that you can find on.
I remember those
YouTube.
were so funny, dude.
But yeah, I mean, like just being in there and recording that record and I don't know, man, it just felt like it was a big deal, Sometimes I'll go back and like be like, oh, here's the studio diary, and there's just a little baby Joey, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
dude, we were just like, man, it was just exciting. I mean, and that was like the quality of his recordings were like really good.
Yeah,
I remember just being like, wow, dude, this is like, we're doing like a real record right now. It felt like,
Yeah, we had 808s. We had like the bass drops.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were singing on everything, and I had never sang like on a record like that too. So it was like it was exciting. It was like a different vibe, than I was used to recording. Just getting and doing drums, whatever. It was like it was more involved, which was cool. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it was fun because like I think creatively, man, like just being able to go in and be like, okay, so this is like the idea, and I think on a lot of levels there was just we were doing it as it happened. You know what I mean? I remember being like, okay, I got to write we've recorded all
Yeah.
the music. Now I gotta have like some lyrics for the song.
John, do the vocals now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it was, you know, like, okay, well, this is the vocal line. Let's like figure out what the harmony is gonna be, and what if we like Josh come in here? What if you did this one? And you know, building stuff up. And I mean, as the first time, like there's a mandolin on some of those tracks, and I think it was cool, especially I think all of us coming from like that like pop punk hardcore like emo-ish background to be like, let's experiment, you know what I mean? Let's put some keys in and stuff like that. So yeah, man, you know, we did robots for a while, and you know, it just things change over time and things like that. And I remember when we were in robots is when we played with the Christina Chris band, and Christina is the singer for Kaleido. And you know, that's where you guys kind of met. If I remember correctly, like you had started just kind of like doing shows here and there, or like writing stuff, or trying to like.
Well, we did. So when we met them, we were doing an interview with Detroit Live. Remember that? Yes. Darian Counts was his name. And he came over with a magazine, and there was like her on the cover and their band, and we're like, oh, okay. So we knew about them from there, and then we did a show with them at the Rack and Roll. You know the place, the Rack and Roll?
Yeah. Steve?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Sound guy. Shout out, sound guy Steve.
So we met them then and became like fast friends. Like, do you remember? Like, I didn't even like talk to Cody yet at all, and he just like came running on stage. Remember? Like, It was like, you guys are awesome. Blah blah blah. I was like, we were just best friends right away. And then we had them do our CD release show with us at Token, remember? Like last minute.
Yes, which that is one of those shows that I think, like, again, I didn't realize how cool it was until like looking back later, because like
dude.
There's still a lot of good pictures of it online, and I'm like, oh, like I forgot that even happened.
I still remember that day, dude. Like heavy. That was a special day. I remember that.
That one, and the one where we almost burned down TNTs in whatever city that was.
Yep, I remember that.
Those are the two that I'm like, oh yeah, those were. I thought like fire was gonna break out, but yeah. So they did you're right. They did our CD release show.
Yeah, and then we had become friends with them, and then I started hanging out with them too, and hanging out with Christina, and then we ended up writing like one song. And we were kind of like, at that point, I think Robots was kind of like fizzling out. We weren't doing as much anymore. And, you know, everyone was kind of just doing their own thing or whatever. So we had written one song, and I was like, you know, we were like, this is really cool, actually. We recorded with Matt, actually, because Matt had told me, I was sending him like a bunch of bands to record there. And he was like, hey, if you ever want to record something, dude, like, you know, I'm doing all these bands he sent me, like, I'll do something for you, like a song for free if you want. And I was like, cool. I just wrote this song, like, so that was my first taste of like playing all the instruments and shit and everything, and it was fun. Like, I was at that time, you know, I was just like into that. I was like, this is cool. Like, I can fucking write this and play this and whatever. So I remember like doing that, and then sending it to her, and she's like, oh, this is cool. And then we recorded that, and then from then on, dude, it was just like we did the rest of that first record with Matt. Did the whole thing, like slowly, you know what I mean? Just started building that band, and then at that time we had the full first record and put it out and just started getting a bunch of opportunities and doing everything. And then we just hit the ground running from there, dude. It was like nonstop. And we played so many shows with that band, and it was nuts. Yeah, it was crazy, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, I know after that first record, you know, like you said, you guys were on, you guys got picked up. We were doing Warp Tour. I know you guys toured with Alien Ant Farm. Like, what was that like?
Yeah.
Because that's one of those bands too. Like, you know, being a kid, that Smooth Criminal video is just one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I got that record for Christmas when I was like, you know, 12, 11. Those are like our best band friends like ever. You know, like I just seen them recently in the last couple months. I went and visited them in Riverside in California. And they took us under their wing, dude. Like we did more with them probably than any other band. And that was our first national tour, like real national tour. We were doing like 6 nights on, 1 night off, just not doing Sundays or something, or maybe I think Mondays actually. And it was like long too, dude. It was like 2.5 months, so it was like a full U.S. tour. And that was a trip. Like I had never done something like that gnarly before. You know what I mean? And it was now, like taxing.
What are the crowds like? Because you know what I mean. Like
they were great, dude.
I remember like Smooth Criminal was always the big one, but they had movies
Yeah, movies, dude, and the song called "These Days" they had, where they crashed the BET Awards and fucking played on top of the like, whatever the BET Awards were at and shit. They're just crazy, dude. Like we had so many insane times with them because they're just like out of their minds in the best way possible. You know what I mean? Like so fun, dude, and just funny, dude. Like funniest dudes, man. I've had some of the best times with them, but yeah, they took us out on more tours than that. I mean, that was like a really long one that we did. We had the same management at the time too, with the Embarco management. So we were doing like a lot of shit with them. And they were coming into town, and we just became really good friends, man. You know, and Mike the drummer, recorded 2 songs for us. One was "Love and War," which Dryden the singer was a feature on, and that won like People's Choice and 89X. Like they retired it. It was like won like 30 nights or some shit in a row. It'd be like everybody. And then he also did "Die Tryin'," which was a single off of that Experience record. So he did like 2 important songs for us in Riverside with him. So yeah, they've always been like a huge part of our life, I guess. You know what I mean? Like just great dudes. Great dudes. I love them.
Yeah, man. They were always one of those bands that, and I think I'm kind of drawn to them because when I was younger, I was like, man, they're like a weird band, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't anybody like him. Like he had his like crazy, like all the lines like shaved in his head, and you know what I mean. Like they were just like, there's something about, and I think that's something that I think I've always been drawn to you with too, but you like there's something authentic about it. You know what I mean? Like you've been the same guy. You've gone through different iterations, you know, as you grow older and and times change, but you've always been authentic to you. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, kind of pulls people into bands or projects is like, oh, you know, you're not trying to be somebody else. You know what I mean? You're like, this is like, you know, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. And if you like it, cool. If not, like, get the fuck off the bus. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
You know? So I know you did that. Now, was that before Experience launched? Was that tour or after?
Yeah, that was before. And then Experience was the record that we did "Die Tryin'" and "Love and War" on with Mike. So we had done a record before that too. So the first record was with Matt Halliday. That was a self-titled EP that I just played everything on, and we put out and done that and done a bunch of shows. And then we kind of, because at the time we didn't really have a band. It was like me and Christina. And then we had Cody though. So Cody played bass on like I think half of that record or something.
Okay.
So then we went and
he's a sick bass player.
Oh, he's the best. Yeah, Cody's
shout out
incredible.
Cody Morales is killing
shout
it
out.
all the time.
And so then we did this record, Unbreakable was the next one, and that was with Chuck Alkazian here at Pearl, which Robots recorded with too.
That was a rough session. That was a rough Robot session.
Your voice is all blown out, wasn't
dude.
It?
Well, we played a show the night before.
Yeah, I don't know why we did that.
And I'm pretty sure I know I got drunk and I might have done some other stuff. And then we had to be there. He was like, Chuck Alkazian, yep, be here at 7 a.m. And I was like, okay.
That was pretty early.
Like,
that was weird.
You know, like I just remember being hungover in the van, sitting outside of Pearl with like the biggest cup of coffee I could get, just being like, music might sound okay, but it's not going to be a good day for my voice at all. But yeah, so and I mean, let me ask you, because Chuck, I mean, he's done everything, man. Like, you know, if you're familiar with, if you're a fan of music production in Michigan, or, you know, that's something that you kind of keep your pulse on, like Pearl Studio is, I mean, it's a big deal. So what was that like working with him and that experience?
That was cool. Yeah, it was a bit different because we had like a band at that point. You know, we had 2 guitar players, and Cody was with us, and it was like I don't think I played a little bit of guitar on that record, but not much. Like they were like on that, you know what I mean? So it was cool. It was a different vibe for that, which was cool. And then like we finished that, we toured on that record for 2 years probably, dude. And that was when all the Ant Farm tours and shit happened.
Yeah.
Was off of that one. And we toured like Living Color and like just a bunch of bands.
I saw you. You were in Nashville, in City Winery.
Yeah.
With Living Color, and I was like, well, if Joey's gonna be in Nashville, I gotta go see him. So
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we did a bunch of touring off that record and just played just shows after shows after shows. I mean, it was like constant. And then did the Experience record next here, and so we've always recorded, like I did the drums for like half of the first record at Josh's Pipe Yard.
Studio.
Yeah. So I've always done, and we did all of Experience there, every bit of it.
Okay.
With him and Nick Morris. So.
Yeah.
So that was cool, all of it except for Die Trying and Love and War, which we did with Mike.
Yeah, I remember Nick Morris from like Guitar Center days. Like I remember he was just always like working a Guitar Center. Yeah, man. So when you were doing the two with Mike, so you're flying out to Cali to do those, right?
Yeah, they're in Riverside, California. So we did, I think, a show at the Whiskey with them at the Whiskey A Go Go.
Now let me ask you before you go forward, what is that like for you, right? Because the Whiskey,
dude, it's crazy.
It's like, it's if people are listening, if you're into the music scene, like the Whiskey it's kind of like CBGB's.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
kind
it's one of the most famous venues in the world. Like I had watched that place like in like many documentaries like that, and the Rainbow and the Roxy and shit, dude. Like my whole life I've seen that stuff, So doing that for the first time was pretty intense, dude. Like, but the crazy thing was like the first show that Kaleido ever did. It wasn't even Kaleido really. It was like we were just Christina Chris. We didn't have a name. She was working with Mikey Clark. That's on like all the ICP stuff and Kid Rock, and Mickey Avalon was in town. Do you know who Mickey Avalon is?
Yeah.
So he's a rapper. He was doing a song with Christina, and she showed him like the 2 or 3 songs we did, and he was like, "Oh, this is sweet. Like you should just open up for my show at the Roxy." And she's like, "Really?" So like our first fucking show we ever did with Kaleido, which was me, Ronnie, Rosalina on guitar, and then Cody on bass, and Christina was just a 4-piece. We did like 4 songs. We flew out, dude, and did the Roxy. It was insane. I was like so nervous, dude. I was like 20, I think, or I don't know, I was maybe 21. That was nerve wracking, dude.
What's the energy walking into that place, right? Because like, I mean, just everybody who is anybody coming up there. I mean, so like, what's the energy like? I mean, like, is that kind of energy like trapped in that building? Like, do you feel it when you walk in, or
immediately? Is it like, especially then, I wasn't as like seasoned yet with touring and just didn't have as many miles under my feet. You know what I mean? Like, it just was. Now I'm so much more comfortable going into places because I've done this shit before. But like, that was a big deal. That first one, dude. It was intense. Like, I just remember walking in, looking around, and being like, man, this is. Walking across Sunset and looking at it and shit. Her name's on the fucking marquee, and it was just like, dude. And it was sold out. When we're going on stage, dude, that whole thing was crazy, dude. Yeah, that was nuts. But as time went on, we did the Whiskey with them, and we already done the whole tour with them at that point, and I was a bit more comfortable. So that was still, though. I mean, dude, like that venue is just insane. Like it's so classic, So much history is in that building. It's unbelievable. I mean, from Guns N' Roses to Motley Crue to Van Halen to the Doors to fucking, everybody, dude. So it was pretty intense. Yeah.
You're sitting up there like crazy. Tommy Lee, like Tommy Lee.
Yeah, dude. It's nuts,
That's crazy, man. Yeah, and I mean, I remember when that happened, and I remember just like, I think you called me. You may have called me, or I might have seen it. You may have like sent like a picture or something.
I probably did something. I was excited
of the marquee, but I just remember being like, hell yeah, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Because that was one of the things, like after, Robots kind of left, like I know Dylan was recording, you're, running the studio, and then Gaither, I don't think at that point was really doing much of anything.
He was going to school.
I mean, as far as musically, I mean, I know he finished school, and I guess he, at that time, around that time is when he started Tetranauts. But I was like, man, like, this is like the thing that Joey does, you know what I mean? So again, just to be like, okay, cool. Like you kept going, like, because it's not gonna, you're gonna find a way to keep going, and then boom, we're on Sunset, you know what I mean? So that's,
it was crazy.
I don't know. I was again, that was kind of like a proud, like big brother moment where I was like, get it, man. You know what I mean? Like do it.
Yeah, dude.
So now I know, you guys have kind of gone through a bit of a lineup change around guitar players. And if I understand, like a lot of the guitar on the record, has that been, or on the records as they've gone along, has that been you playing those parts? Or like on the most recent one, or tell me a little bit about that.
I've always been on there. Like the first one was, I think, all me. And the second one I did not as much on. That was more the guys playing. Experience was all them. It was Ronnie and Jamie. And then this last one, No Really I'm Fine, I did 2 of the songs fully, and then Ronnie did 2 of the songs fully.
Okay.
Because that was right when he was kind of branching off. He's not really playing with bands so much anymore. I mean, I know he's still doing music, but he's working full time and stuff. So he was kind of transitioning out of being in the band full time at that time. So I had done 2 songs and he did 2 songs. So
yeah. Now and Ronnie's a good dude too. So, I mean, it doesn't like I never got the sense that it was like there was any like animosity behind it, but just kind of like
no. He just times change.
Doing my own thing.
Yeah, he just wanted to do something different,
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's the one thing that is one thing. I mean, kind of going back to robots a little bit, like I can't imagine ever after us playing together, I could never imagine being like, oh, well, Gaither quit. Let's just get another guitar player.
It's hard. I mean? It is, man.
Yeah. I know bands do it all the time. I think, just the 4 of us were so, like you said, like all kind of cut from that same, like if you try to bring
really
in
weird for us to do that, but even though, it feels like that when you're touring with people, it's like your family. So it's definitely weird, but you have to just kind of, show must go on, bro. So you either do it or you don't, right? Yeah.
Now, were you guys playing for a while, like with like the guitar as backing tracks, or were you just bringing people in?
We had a couple people filling in.
Okay.
Ron had wanted to branch off, but he still did a really like extensive long tour towards the end, which was like a month and a half, I think, or something. And then once we had come back, he did that, and then we had to fill in for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 months maybe, instead of like a few shows. And then now we have my buddy Drew Johnson, who is out of Miami. We met him on Shiprocked, actually.
Okay.
And he's tacked for like Papa Roach and Seven Dust and like a bunch of bigger bands. So he knows the game and he's a great player and he's an awesome dude. So it's been really cool having him.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's I think I may follow him on Instagram, and I was watching some of his videos, and then he was like, "Hey, I'm going out with Kaleido," and so like he was pretty. It seemed like he was pretty stoked about it, and he's a super talented guitar player, which is awesome. Great. I mean, if you're gonna have somebody fill in, why not get somebody who is gonna shred? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. So like before this whole like quarantine and coronavirus and everything like that, with Kaleido, I mean, if you had to estimate how many shows outside of like your weekly acoustic shows and stuff like that with the band and like touring included, how many shows, if you had to like put in a ballpark, how many do you think you were playing a year?
Ooh, the last year slowed down a little bit from what it usually was, but I mean, we were doing, from the Unbreakable record and Experience record, we were doing fucking 200 shows a year, dude, at least.
Right.
I'm sure. It seemed like it, at least. I don't know, man. We were playing every weekend, Yeah, well, touring during the week and shit too. So yeah, a lot of shows. I mean, probably in between 150 and 200 a year.
And then you and Christina were also doing acoustic like shows. The acoustic bar shows and stuff like that.
And we do 3 of those a week, 2 of those a week. So
well, and I wanted to ask you because again, you're someone that like I've never known someone with the persistence that you have. Like again, since I've known you at 13, you're like, bitch, this is what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like this is what I'm doing. So, when like coronavirus hit and everything like shut down, what was your first thought, or what was going through your head at that time, being somebody who's like, this is what I need to be in bars, I need to be in venues, I need to I need to be in front of groups that are bigger than 10 people. I mean, what was that first thought process like?
I don't think I took it as seriously as it really was at first. I didn't really know what was going on. Honestly, it was just like, is this really going to happen? But now, I mean, seeing that concerts could be shut down until fall 2020 and all that it's my initial thought is like, oh shit, honestly, it's scary, bro. Because this is what we do. I mean, that's my life. Is live shows 100%. Like that's my passion too. It literally is my life. So it kind of a lost feeling a bit without it, I don't know. But keeping an optimistic state of mind. Anything could happen, and I'm just hoping that we get back to normal sooner than later. But yeah, man, like all these festivals are canceled, everyone's tours are canceled. It's very
now.
weird.
Did you have anything like because?
Yeah, we had some stuff on the books, but that's
I
gone
didn't know
now.
if you
We were
had
supposed
like
to play in
any
Pittsburgh like
legs
yesterday or something. Yeah.
Now, was it
So,
like just like was it a couple dates or was it like did you have like
just a couple
a
dates.
couple
It wasn't
weeks on the
even,
road?
Yeah, no, we didn't have any like big long tours coming up, but a lot of bands did.
Yeah,
and are really losing out right now. So
Oh, I mean, Nashville is. I mean, it's a huge, huge music scene, and
oh
I
god,
mean,
yeah,
so I mean, with all these bars being closed down and professional musicians, and I mean, not even like from a music standpoint, but we had tickets to see Bert Kreischer, the stand-up comedian, The Machine, and then we had tickets to see that was in April. That got pushed back. Right now, they're saying until July, and then we had tickets to see Trevor Noah from the Daily Show in May, and they're like, we don't know when that's going to happen again. And then Chappelle and Joe Rogan were supposed to be here, and that they don't know when that's going to happen. So, yeah, what do you think it's going to look like? You know what I mean? So, like when things finally start opening up, like what do you think that experience is going to be like? Because
I have no idea because I don't know. I've been seeing different stuff. Nothing's really concrete, but I've been seeing different stuff about the shows aren't going to come back until there's a vaccine or all this stuff, or it's like I don't know, man. I mean, it's gatherings of tons of people about as close as you can possibly get to each other. So I don't know. I have no idea, dude. I'm just kind of watching this shit as it goes, and I'm hoping that it's safe enough for us to continue. But I mean, that's the thing; it has to be safe. So
yeah,
it's kind of out of our hands,
and
I have no idea.
mean, Michigan's real volatile right now. It seems like with all these like protests going on, and I mean, I just somebody because my whole family still lives up north and not far from where you are, and so I keep an eye on what's going on. You know what I mean? Because I want to know like what's going on where they are, and what's going on at home. And part of me has also been like, man, like if these people would just stop protesting and stay home, like maybe we could get to things a little bit quicker if these.
I mean, why they're doing that to begin with is just completely ridiculous. But whatever.
Well,
man.
They took our jobs, right?
I mean, everyone's hurting, man.
I know, man.
An epidemic.
So, but like, let's say it opens back up and it's like, well, we can have, half capacity, you know what I mean? Or we can have like 25 people. Like at that point, are you still like, let me get out there and play these 25 people? Like,
I'll do it. I'll do anything, honestly. I'll do whatever show, whatever it's going to be. I'll work with that until it gets back to normal. I'll just be happy to do it again because I miss it so much. It's like, dude, I can't even explain to you how much I do.
Have you thought about doing like any live stream like stuff?
Yeah, we haven't done anything yet, but we might do something like that soon. But like I said, I've been trying to do some like now that I'm home and I'm just relaxing, like I'm trying to do some more drum videos because I never really had a chance to do that before. So I would do them like on the fly really quick, So I'm gonna start doing those. Like I said,
where are you filming those at? Are you filming them like at your place?
The last one I filmed at my parents' house actually.
Okay.
Yeah, where we used to play back in the day.
Where your dad was like, dude. Sounds like a bunch of flies making noise in the son of a bitch.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, because I think I was thinking about that because there's a comedy store in LA and they did like a live stream benefit with these comedians where you could like donate to the servers and the staff and stuff like that. So like if you did something where it's like, hey man, like we'll do here's a 45-minute set, and if you feel like tossing a couple bucks or something like that, because I'm sure right now, like I was telling you before the show started, I've been working from home for 3 years, so I'm fortunate enough where me and the wife we're not hurting. But for people that are they make that money on performing, or they are in those jobs where like they can't go in, like it's a super scary time right now. And I'm sure that there's people that would be like, hey, let me help in any way that I can, you know what I mean? So
well, we've been doing good. We've been selling some merch and stuff, and our fans have been pretty supportive of buying that stuff up, so that's been really cool. And yeah, you know, I mean, everyone's hurting, dude. So it's just one of those times where everyone kind of needs to just come together and, you know, let it be. I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
It's
You're
rough
not going to
times
be
for
doing
everyone.
like any like Imagine Zoom videos or anything like that. Like, imagine there's no heaven. Instead of that stuff.
I know what you're talking about. No,
Well,
probably not.
well, let me ask you this, man. If people want to, because you know you're on Spotify and you know you can go and we'll have all the links in the show notes on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. We'll have all the links there. But if you know somebody wants to, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, man, I want to support. I don't just want to go, you know, artists make money off streams, of course, but it's, you know, however many cents, right? So if somebody wanted to be able to support, like buy the record or you know, like pick up some merch or something like that, where's the best place for them to go to do that?
KaleidoBand.com. So KALEIDO band.com. And that's our merch store. All that stuff's on there. So you can get, you know, physical copies of the record, hoodies, shirts, you know, all that good stuff.
Perfect. Well, we'll, like I said, we'll make sure we get it all linked up. And, you know, like I know I told you before the show started, man, like when all this happened, I was like, I got to check in on Joey. Cause this is just,
Yeah.
you know, like I know how hard you work. I know how hard you hustle. I know, that, you know, this is definitely far from normal for you. And, you know, I'm just hoping that everything opens back up. I mean, in some way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you
Same,
guys
man.
do, if you do end up doing anything as far as like doing a stream or anything like that, heck, maybe even robots could do something. Just
That'd be
be like,
sweet.
hey, let's do like acoustic, like 3 or 4 songs over Zoom or
Yeah.
something. See if we can work it out. But you know, if you end up doing something like that, just let me know. We'll link that up. Like I'll put it out before
Definitely.
the
Thank
next
you,
show,
bro.
or you know,
Mm-hmm.
put it out on our Twitter and all that stuff. And just you know, I love you. I love Cody. I love Christina. I'm just you know glad that you guys are doing okay, and you know, hopefully this is over. You know, sooner rather than later. So
Yeah.
so
Same. Thank you, bro.
no problem. So let me ask you this, man. What's the first thing you're gonna do when they're like, you can go out of your house, everything's cool? What are you gonna do? First thing.
Go eat in a restaurant, dude.
What
God, that sounds
restaurant?
so good. I want some hibachi. That's what I want,
Hibachi.
bro. I want to go to Benihana or something, dude.
And it's
Oof.
I know a lot of those places are doing carry out, but it's not the same, man. It's not the
There's
same.
one place that it's in Canton, actually. It's called Sumo, and it's like it's that good, dude. It's like as
Really?
good as normal hibachi. Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. So, but I haven't had it though, even now. But it's still not the same. You know, you're getting at the table and shit. Just being in a restaurant, dude. I just want to be in that environment. You know.
Yeah,
Or
man.
J. Alexander's. Go there, dude. That's oh my god, that place is so
Bro,
good.
I want Coney Island, dog, because
Ooh, that sounds good too.
they
I
don't
want
have
everything.
that here.
I don't even know what the first thing I'm gonna do is, but all that stuff goes through my head. Everything.
Yeah, there's no Coney Islands in Tennessee. It's
Oh
not like
really?
it's like you want a meat and 3 where you go and like pick your meat and get like 3 sides, but there's no chicken finger pitas. There's no
Woo-hoo, that's my
there's a
favorite. You know
couple of
that.
Euro places, but it's not the same. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So next, I want everything to get better so I can come home. Like I know my grandma just had surgery on her knee, so
Oh wow.
on Friday, my mom is actually flying to Florida where cases are like skyrocketing, and she's going to be down there for 2 weeks to take care of my grandma. You know what I mean?
Oh
So it's
shit.
like I just want this stuff to be. I want it to be over so I can go. You know, Mary Beth had a kid, so I want to go see my nephew. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Crazy.
I don't know, man. It's just, it's nuts. And it's like you said, it's, even if you're not being financially affected, it's still,
It affects
it's
everybody.
hard for everybody, you know?
Yeah, man.
So,
It's rough times.
uh, you know, I just want to say thank you for doing the show, man. Like I said,
Of
you've been
course,
one of
bro.
my best friends for years. I've been wanting to get you on. Thank you. I know you had to download Skype on your phone to do this
I'll download
today, and
anything for you, bro. It's
well,
all
I
good.
appreciate it.
You
And
know I got you.
once things kind of settle down, man, I want you to come back. Maybe we
Yeah.
can set it up. It keeps evolving here, so maybe I can get it set up where you can do some kind of performance, something like that.
Yeah.
Play a couple
I'd
of
love
songs.
to, dude.
I'd love it, man. So
That'd be great, bro.
all right, we'll stick
Anytime you
around.
want me on, bro, I'm here.
Well, what are you doing? 5:30 tomorrow morning. I'm
You
up
want to do
and
it
at 'em.
then?
Yeah, I got a
All
kid.
right, sweet.
I'm up and at it, baby. So, and you're lucky because that's 6:30 your time. You're an hour ahead of me, so you get that extra hour of sleep.
Yeah, dude.
But
Yeah, next time we'll do a bunch of we'll tell some stories, bro. So,
Yeah, man.
some in-depth boys.
I don't know, man. I'm just happy to see you. I'm glad that everything's doing well, and maybe we can get all of us together on one. I think that'd be fun. Get all
that'd be
four
great,
of us.
bro.
So.
We should.
For sure. All right, man. Well, stick around for me. We're going to wrap it up there, but I just wanted to say thank you guys for checking it out. Really do appreciate it. KaleidoBand.com. Buy the album. Get a t-shirt. Get a hoodie. Stream the record. No Rly I'm Fine is available now. Thank you guys for checking it out. Joey Fava, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Guys.